Welcome to Dragon Plus, our live stream where we discuss more of the content heading into each issue of Dragon Plus, our free online magazine available on iOS, Android, and as always at dragonmag.com. We also like to take a more visual look at some of the happenings in the game and with Dungeons & Dragons. And what could be more visual right now than a look at one of our awesome digital partners, Codename Entertainment.
Yay.
Really
Hello there. I see that we've been notified that we're on stream in game right now, too.
I'm
going to close that.
So yeah, as mentioned right before the stream, I'll try and keep my audible bodily functions to a minimum now that we're live. With that, the co-host seated next to me, John File, returning again to the studio. Welcome back, John.
Hey, thank you for having me.
And really quickly, for folks that might not be aware of who you are in Wizards of the Coast, who are you?
Oh, sure.
What do you do around here?
What do I do? My gosh. That's what my boss asks me all the time. So what I do is I handle our relationships with the people who make D&D video games. So if you're Neverwinter, if you're Dungeons & Dragons Online, if you are Codename Entertainment doing Untitled Chapter of the Forgotten Realms.
I heard about those guys.
Right. If you're Ludia, who has their Warriors of Waterdeep now available in Canada, and Canada only because they're in kind of beta, or any of the other D&D video games, Capcom, Chronicles of Mystara, that kind of thing. Those are all my responsibilities. So I make sure that we're treating everybody right, and they get all the good information, and all the art is correct, and the logos are in the right place, and all the legal stuff goes through Marty.
Marty Durham, yeah. We haven't called him out on the live stream in a while, I don't think.
He hasn't been on a live stream since they had those films where he was in the red chair and he's doing reviews of the books.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes, that has been a while.
Right, it's been a while.
So we have our headphones on, not because we're cool Daft Punk style live streamers, but because we've got some guests that are calling in via Zoom this week. Dylan Wilkes from Codename Entertainment, welcome.
Hello there.
Dylan, you no novice to the live stream yourself, co-host of the weekly Untitled Champions live stream here on the D&D channel Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific.
Yep, unless I'm sick like I was last week.
And I hear shouldering all the burden from Justin as well, or is that just a nasty rumor going around?
I would say
I'd
say that most of the work that Justin can pass on goes to Chris, actually. Yeah.
So welcome, and also with us today, Scott Kurtz. Scott, welcome very much. We met up at the Stream of Many Eyes just a couple weeks ago in person.
What an enchanting weekend, man. That was hard to recover from.
It was an odd time to be able to be in the yawning portal with Elminster himself, and
I know it was hard to come back to reality after spending a weekend in Waterdeep.
So let me for folks. Obviously, I'm imagining many folks that know D&D know Scott as well, but if not. Really quickly, Eisner and Harvey Award-winning cartoonist. You might know his daily feature PvP, which debuted back in May of '98, and of course his ongoing webcomic Table Titans, which we will be talking about momentarily. Scott has also co-authored a book on the making of webcomics, as well as co-created and produced several animated web series, and is the creator of a certain character known as Binwin Bronzebottom.
Yes. Amazingly, what I'm probably best known for is playing Binwin.
I'm doing this out of order because that's how it goes. Before we kind of talk about Untitled Champions as an overview, and again, same thing. I'm imagining most people that are familiar with the D&D channel are aware of Untitled Champions, but we did want to introduce it. But before we do. Who exactly is Binwin Bronzebottom for folks that might possibly not know his origins?
So about 10 years ago now, almost. I want to say it's close to 10 years ago. Wizards of the Coast. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We used to-
Wizards approached Penny Arcade.
We used to do horse and
Yeah.
coach rides back then.
That's
Yeah,
the 1870s.
Wizards of the Coach. Everyone has really nice Coach purses. Remember Coach purses? No, about 10 years ago, Wizards came to Penny Arcade. I was renting office space out of their building and worked with them a lot on different projects back then. And back then, you guys were promoting 4th edition D&D. 4th edition had just come out. And you wanted kind of a way to promote it. And the guys at Penny Arcade suggested that we just record a podcast and play D&D, show people what it's about. And so we did that. I was invited to participate. It was, going to be like just a one-time deal. And I played the fighter and very unauspiciously named him Binwin Bronzebottom just because I liked alliterations, and Binwin is a name that I've always used for D&D characters randomly throughout the years. And, just kind of played him like a brash, headstrong berserker fighter that kind of thought second and just knocked down doors and rushed in first. And what was supposed to be kind of a one-time deal ended up being a podcast and live plays at PAX over the course of 10 years, the last 10 years. So we've played D&D with Chris Perkins being our dungeon master, which not everyone gets to claim. So I've been blessed to have my DM is the most famous DM ever, Chris Perkins. And I've been able to play in front of thousands of people at big theaters in Seattle, and Wizards and Penny Arcade and you guys allowed me to kind of live like 10 separate individual dreams, all that should never happen to one person. All of them happen to me. So.
Hopefully the good kind of dreams, not the the underpants kind of dreams.
Yeah, not the wake up and you're not being at school naked dream, but the playing D&D on stage with the most famous DM and a bunch of awesome guys, and so that's kind of who Binwin is. But the character kind of developed over the course of 10 years, and we've put him in different things, and we've depicted him in comic books and stuff, but now he's in a video game, so he's reached the pinnacle, I think. Right, Dylan?
It's pretty sweet. None of my characters are in video games. So.
Now he's legit. Now he's legit.
So folks have been following Scott's blog today. You made the announcement of Binwin Bronzebottom appearing in Codename Entertainment's Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, which we are watching a bit of gameplay at live as we speak. Again, Dylan, so for folks that might not be familiar with Idle Champions, what exactly are we looking at now? What's the quick overview of the game for viewers that might not be
the quick overview. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is an officially licensed, free-to-play, D&D based idle clicker strategy game. It's a lot of words strung together, but it's very much like you are the person who manages an adventuring team, and the whole thing is focused around formation strategy and designing the best layout for your party of champions to help them get as much loot and break in as many doors and go head first into things as often as possible.
Super cool. And so how exactly is it, how exactly would you say it's played compared to, say, other digital game formats? I mean, you mentioned sort of the idle clicker strategy game. Yeah, we're used to mouthfuls with MMORPGs and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that the gameplay is much more passive than what people are used to with a lot of games, especially when it comes to a lot of the other D&D licensed games. There's so many amazing games, but they're all deep, narrative-driven RPG experiences. And this is more of I would describe it as a relaxing kind of passive gaming experience. You set your champions up and you don't have to check in on them constantly. Certainly there are the occasional adventures that are where it rewards very active gameplay and paying a lot of close attention and adjusting your strategy on the fly throughout. But for the most part, on your average quest, you just kind of let your champions grind and you check in periodically. So it's one of those games that's perfect for being at work. It can be in the background and you just tab back and forth when you have breaks or you have a moment to follow up.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people here play the Idle Champions, including Pelham.
He's not the only one.
I got a quick email when we were showing off one of the computer screens from Stream of Many Eyes. It was Pelham's screen, and it had like the little Idle Champions logo in the bottom. There's
little iris icon in the bottom corner.
Yeah, Eric was really happy about that. Hey, Dylan, could you switch Celeste and Hitch for me?
You got your formation wrong, Dylan. What the hell?
No, that's a good call.
Yeah, you want to heal your front line, and she still busts the back line. So you're look at that. You want
my number went up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was playing suboptimally.
Yeah. Really practice that more. But yeah, so I'm sorry, Bart, continue on.
No, I was just going to say much the same thing, walking around the offices of Wizards of the Coast, in the D&D area
You were
going
to comment about Celeste and Hitch, too?
No, I was going to say that more often than not, in somebody's window, there's Idle Champions or the D&D Twitch channel is usually up and running at any one time.
Yeah. It's super. Ben Petrosaur is always on this thing, too. It's really fun.
So for a game like Idle Champions, there's, in addition to the gameplay, the regular gameplay, there's super cool events that take place and new characters that get introduced, which is what we kind of wanted to talk about today. How do those work?
So, every 3 weeks or so, give or take, we have a different new event, usually tied into one of the seasonal events in Faerun or something else closely aligned with the lore as best we can. And right now, until next week, we have an event called Dragon Down running, where you can unlock Binwin Bronzebottom.
Sorry,
Who is OP?
Yeah, it's mesmerizing to watch this thing.
I'm waiting for the dragon to go down.
Yeah, well, it doesn't go down.
I know. The little guy, the little dragon.
I'll quicken it up. I'll use some ultimate abilities.
He slowly just backs out. I love the way the dragon is like, well, you beat me. I'm just going to slowly back out of this room. Whoops, there I go.
No, forget I was ever here. Just carry
Smart enough
on.
to leave.
Carry on.
Right.
So the announcement was made that Binwin has joined the game. So I will say again, having been there since some of the origins of Binwin Bronzebottom and some of those 4th edition games, it is congratulations to Scott for having created a character that's cut across so many different platforms, and it is super cool to see him added into to Idle Champions now as well.
Yeah, it's very flattering, and it was exciting to hear because for various reasons I stepped away from Acquisition Incorporated. 10 years is a long time to be working on something, and my biggest fear when I left Act Inc. was that, this probably means everyone's going to forget about Binwin. So getting to go to the Stream of Many Eyes and getting to see that Codename was very interested in putting him in the game, and then seeing everyone's reaction when he went in the game, it was very heartwarming to see people still remember about Binwin and care to see him. And we do a weekly comic strip with him. Corey Cassoni and Tavis Maiden write and draw, respectively, Binwin's Minions, which is a weekly comic that kind of lets Binwin stay alive and get to go on funny quests and adventures. And the guys at Codename were so amazing in being stewards of Binwin and being willing and very excited about incorporating his friends and backstory and in-jokes and catchphrases so that fans of the character really get extra touches of fan service by adding him to the game. A lot of Binwin's gear is based on stuff from the comic, and there's even a quest. One of the event quests is called Binwin's Minions, and a couple of his minions from the comic show up and are detrimental to your formation. But they buff Binwin, but they debuff everybody else. Right. And just really fun and just kind of amazing that the guys at Codename are so well versed in it. And you know, like I said, just we're very, very good stewards to Binwin. So very exciting.
I will mention for folks that are watching the stream at the moment, we've got Scott, we've got Dylan on the stream today. So if you do have questions for either one of them, please, by all means, put it in the chat. Please preface it with question in all caps so that we can catch it with our eyes. And we'll try and convey that to Scott and Dylan as they come up.
Right. So, Scott, I think, is this your first Dragon Talk or Dragon Plus interview? Or have you been on before?
Did a Dragon... No, yes. It is a... Well, I did the cover for a Dragon Plus one time, right?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
I want to say that was issue 7 or 8. So
it was issue and
it was back when we didn't even number the issues, but now we went back and started doing that.
Right.
So,
yeah, I drew the cover, and I think they interviewed us about Ack Inc. at the time. But I think it was my first time on the podcast, the stream for sure.
Oh, that is a miss on our part. So please welcome to the D&D live stream.
Yeah, and normally what we do when in these types of things is ask you about your D&D origin story. And I know that you put that down in your Table Titans website, but now that we were talking before the cast, you have a friend kind of behind the screen there hanging out with you. Who you met?
Yeah, it's funny. My friend Rob Schiebel is here. I've known Rob since you say the 3rd grade, right?
We've known each other since 3rd grade.
Well, we've known each. Yeah, we've known each other since the 3rd grade, but we started playing D&D during indoor recess in the 5th grade. Rob made me question my memory today because I can't remember if my intro to Dungeons and Dragons was playing with him or if it was when my father brought home the Blue Box back in the 80s, way back in the 80s. D&D was, when it first came out, it was very popular, not just amongst kids and nerds. My dad worked for a construction, he was a civil engineer, and he and a lot of his friends played, and he brought home the game and said, I think this would be fun for the boys to play. So I never had to go through that whole thing where parents are like, I don't know about these role-playing games. My dad was 100% into it. He introduced us to it. So,
did he have to convince you in any way? Like, I don't know about this. But then, no, let's sit down and play it.
No, we were enamored pretty quickly. My dad showed me his character sheet, and he had made a wizard, and he had drawn the little portrait in there, which excited me because there was drawing involved.
Yeah.
And his character's name was Drazu, the wizard. And I said, oh, that's a cool name. And he's like, Drazu is wizard backwards. And we're like, how did you know that would be a name? Oh, my God. Yeah. So, we became obsessed with playing D&D at school. It really is my introduction into comics and storytelling because I was the player that upset the dungeon master because I stopped listening 10 minutes in because I was busy drawing on the back of my character sheet.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, draw everyone's characters and once we made the characters and started to play, I would get bored because I was more interested in writing my own stories than listening to the DM stories.
Well,
so,
was this your father still as the dungeon master, or someone else at this point?
Well, definitely when Rob was DMing, but we all took turns. We were not afraid to take turns DMing. We all had story ideas, but yeah, I very quickly could lose myself in drawing characters and other people's characters and monsters and not pay attention. So I was a bad player in that respect.
Have you kept some of those old drawings and character sketches?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my dad recently moved to the Seattle area from Dallas, and we emptied the attic and went through a bunch of old stuff, and I found a ton of old D&D art, as well as other role-playing games that we played back in the day. We were kind of there for the renaissance of role-playing games becoming popular, so we played all the TSR games. We played Star Frontier and Top Secret and Gamma World, and we played Villains and Vigilantes. What else did we play? Marvel Superheroes.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The Marvel Superheroes game
Outrageous.
where your statistics were phrases.
Amazing.
So you could have could have a
Incredible.
Yeah, right. So the statistics, there were numbers, but it was also like from feeble all the way up to monstrous, but they would describe it, and feeble intelligence was described as trouble with doors. And one time I was walking into the mall, and I did that thing where you push a door when you should pull it.
Right.
And Rob, who's here, he's behind me, and he just leans over and he goes, "Trouble with doors." So we determined that day I had a feeble intelligence.
It's like one of those old D&D first level games where the wizard gets killed by a house cat just because they have one hit point.
Of course,
Right.
yeah.
Or a cow. Cows are tough when you're first level.
I think that's why I like 5e so much, is because it really harkens back. Not that 4e was bad. I loved it differently, but
my longest campaign is probably still fourth edition. The longest consecutive campaign I was in was.
Yeah, but in 4th edition, your characters become gods pretty quick. But when 5th edition comes out, it's like, do you guys want to hire any like people before you go out? No, why? We got our party. It's like, there's orcs. I charge the orcs. You kill one, and then it stabs you, and now you're bleeding. Then the cleric's like, I can heal you, but I get one spell, and then I got to take a nap and eat a sandwich. And you're like, run! We need to hire help. So it's very old school D&D, right?
I mean, that was the thing back in first edition. It was just sort of built in that this understanding that you had henchmen and hirelings that you sort of needed to add to your party in a lot of ways.
Yeah, if you want to survive.
Right.
It was dangerous.
Oh, and to carry the torches and the treasure chests and things like that. Open the doors.
After a while, yeah, we never got into that. We would get TPK'd by like 3 kobolds.
Yeah, I love that sense of danger. I love that sense of it being kind of like a wild fantasy frontier. It's dangerous to leave town. It's more exciting.
Dylan, have we ever asked same sort of question? Have we ever talked about your introduction to the world of Dungeons and Dragons?
That's a good question.
Was it a roller coaster at an amusement park that you got on one day and took you to
another realm?
During my more troubled teens, maybe. I remember being introduced to AD&D with some friends. In a darkened room downstairs at their place, that kind of like high school cliche, but it didn't stick with me then. Maybe it was the group of friends, or maybe it was just the character that I rolled. I was more focused on everything else at the time, and then immediately after high school, I ended up living with some friends in a shared apartment. Here in Victoria, and they were huge into 3.5, and that was when I got into it. That was when I started to have those positive experiences where, people make mistakes and it costs people their lives, and it's just, things got more chaotic, and you just started. It was a completely different experience, and it was awesome. It was strange, and actually one of those guys I still play with. So nice. I can't even remember when that was. That was probably like 15 years ago.
And so, Codename, you have a couple of games going on every week, right? At this time?
Yeah, we play a lot. It kind of varies depending on who's being pulled into meetings and who's available at lunch. But like just this past lunch, I'm deep into DMing a Sunless Citadel campaign with now 6 players. So I keep having to try and find ways to make that more difficult because it's way too many people.
Are you playing
Yawning Portal 1?
The Yawning Portal version of Sunless Citadel?
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. We have and we have some of the players are using UA content. One of our artists, Kat, who did all of Binwin's icons, She's playing a Circle of the Spores druid. She's got this like fungal eladrin. I think she actually drew a picture of it and shared it on Twitter. It's really creepy looking. And, yeah, we're just kind of bumbling our way through. They have this tendency to let monsters get away and reinforce. And so they've been making things extra hard on themselves pretty much the entire way through, which is wonderful as a DM. And then we also have multiple DMs and a ton of players in the office. So our art director, Adam, DMs a number of our other games, including like our one-shots and our Curse of Strahd campaign. He's the one who basically challenged everybody to fight him for the honor of drawing Binwin for the game. So he's responsible for the art and animation. As soon as we talked about doing Binwin, he just said, "I'm doing Binwin. Nobody else gets to do Binwin. It's me." And just kind of like shouted it over the room. Everybody kind of pulled off their headphones and was like, "What did he just say?" Like, yeah. And so Adam DMs a bunch as well. And yeah, it's probably 3 or 4 of the 5 lunches a week. There's D&D going on.
Wow.
So I did want to call out, if folks might not be aware, the Binwin Gold Chest code. Am I incorrect that folks can make use of that?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember which code it is right now.
Bin it to win it. Yeah.
Bin it to win it. Is it bin it to win it code, or is it just bin it to win it?
Oh, bin it to win it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It ends with a YEAH.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
It's not Dylan is sick, which was last week.
That was last week's code. I remember that. They were cheeky. I saw the note. I was lying in bed and it's like, we're going to change the code this week. I'm like, thanks guys.
So
Is that a one-time code, or can everyone use it?
I was going to say, yes. How do for folks that might not be aware, how do the codes work?
Yeah, actually I can demonstrate that perfectly right now. You just pull up the old shop here, assuming you're on Steam, and you just type it in. So it's bin it to win it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Ta-da.
Free gold chest. Oh, it's a gold Binwin chest. Even better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to open those right now just to see if I get any epic loot.
Boop.
No, not that time. Roll the dice again. Oh. One more chance. Ah, rares and contracts. Oh well, Binwin got stronger.
Very cool. So,
yeah, I was just going to a quick thank you, I suppose, for everyone viewing and watching.
Absolutely.
Please do take advantage of the Binwin Gold Chest code.
right.
Yeah, bin it to win it. Yeah, I could have sworn we did another bin it to win it.
I thought it was yesterday or something. There was one, right?
But I think it didn't end with a yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There was one that ended with a bunch of exclamation marks as well. And Chris Dupuis just held up a sign to my window saying that the code expires sometime tonight. So,
All right.
yeah, apparently that one expires.
For all you VOD watchers out there, you probably can't use this code.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. If you're in Europe and you are asleep, I'm sorry. By the time you wake up, it will probably be gone.
I did kind of want to ask, and maybe, John, you might know the answer to this as well. So when Untitled Champions was back in the development days, was there always the thought to, hey, let's make a party of characters and some of the characters will be known from the D&D multiverse? How did it come about where you would have some of the named characters as part of the party?
I can answer that. So early on, we discussed, who the characters would be, and we were also showing off Force Grey. So you'll notice that we have 5 characters in Force Grey in the formation here. We have Hitch and Tyrrell and the others. And we also pulled characters from other video games like Celeste, who comes from Neverwinter, and we just brought them all together and made these awesome formation characters. So yeah, it was very, very early on. This was all in the plan. We would pull out the characters from everywhere that D&D made them, and then as after we launched, we discussed, hey, why don't we, we had the stream last year of Annihilation.
The Stream of Annihilation.
And the Codename team got to meet Joe Manganiello there, and he was super excited to get Arkin into the game. And so they launched with Ark in there at the end, and he was super happy about that. And Dylan Sprouse's character, Dylan was super happy about getting his character in, and so that just led into the situation we have today, where we have Strix, and we have Evelyn, we have Binwin, and all these other awesome characters from our streamed and other media partners and friends.
Super cool. Yeah, it's pretty easy. I'll just give a quick kudos to the art style. It's very iconic. You can distinctly see who is who, and there's Strix right now, and it's cool to watch.
They really did a top-notch job adopting. They adopted me as their son, and it's full citizenship. Here I come. I'm bailing on America. It's time. They did a great job adapting Binwin to their house style, but keeping him 100% Binwin. And they work very closely with us. Not that they needed to, because we loved all their choices pretty much. I don't think we had many notes.
But I was going to ask, but there was that back and forth as the concepts for Binwin are created. You have a chance to take a look and review and give feedback?
Yeah, well, they were very, like Dylan said, Adam was fever pitch to work on Binwin. And he was so excited that the turnarounds from, okay, we're going to do this, to here the first sketches were almost instantaneous. Adam was losing his mind. So, there was very little. In fact, one of the cool things that about the experience is Adam lent design to the character that I want to carry out of the game. The way that he draws Binwin's axes, Rook and Ruin, I'm enamored with. He managed to make so he managed to make two axes that look like they match, but still are different. And played off the names with Rook and Ruin. So if you see, Jerry Holkins was kind enough to name Binwin's axes years ago. There's no one else on the planet that can come up with cooler names for everything than Jerry. And so, as you can see there, Adam was like, oh, well, the axe called Rook will have that rampart kind of pommel at the top.
Yeah, like the capstone to the...
Yeah. And Ruin, the axe is all busted up. And I was just like, oh, why didn't I think of that? That's so smart. So I'm stealing it. I'm stealing it back because it's so cool. So
that'll make Adam pretty happy too.
Yeah.
And who are the minions? We had mentioned Binwin's minions. When
Binwin left Acquisitions Incorporated, he decided that he was just as good as Omen, and he could start his own group of adventurers that get paid to go on quests. And he, had open auditions, and quickly learned that Omen has a skill set that is highly prized and specialized, and that it's not as easy as it seems. Because the minions he managed to gather are not the cream of the crop. So and Corey and Tavis have such a ball writing that story. And of course, I come from a philosophy of storytelling where the most interesting characters are flawed. I'm not very good at telling stories where everyone is 100% badass all the time. I'll leave that to Bob Salvatore.
So you're a Batman over a Superman fan?
No, I am not. I am a Superman over Batman, 100%. But that's very different.
Yeah, I was going to say that would.
That's very different for very different reasons. But, I am happy to explore that for hours with you on any stream. The minions are. He's got a wizard. He's got a druid, a thief, and a warrior. And I think that we made a point to, we only have revealed the name of one of the characters because Binwin didn't manage to learn anybody's names. So it's just the wizard, the druid, and the thief. And somehow the warrior's name is Paul. We know that, but Codename put the wizard and the druid in the game. And they did that was a really difficult challenge because the style which Tavis draws the minions is very cartoony. But Adam, I would assume Adam and Kat managed to translate those characters to be in the Idle Champions house style, which is not anything like what they look like in the comic, but still maintain 100% recognizability. Yeah,
the little ears on the
druid.
Ears on the
druid, which I think speaks to both Tavis Maiden's ability to just do spectacular character design, and to Adam and Kat's and Codename's ability to, recognize elements that need to be translated. Anyway, it's a big admiration society today. I just love these boys and girls so much.
Even Princess Duckersheim.
Yeah, Princess Duckersheim. I think it was the wizard that kept pulling ducks out of his hat, and one of them ended up being the most competent member of the group and kind of running the show right now behind the scenes. Princess Duckersheim, yeah. In the comic, Princess Duckersheim finds what is it? The Wand of Wonder? What's it called? A wand of many things? What is that? Remind me.
Oh, there's
the artifact.
The
Wand of Wonder.
Okay.
Wand of Wonders,
yes.
Yeah. So
whatever you can, I love the Wand of Wonder.
Yeah. So imagine if a duck got a hold of that. That's Princess Duckersheim. And she's one of Binwin's gear slots. Is a duck.
That's funny. I spent my Father's Day at the duck pond.
You did?
Throwing bread to the ducks.
Okay, that's what you wanted to do for your Father's Day?
That is, yes. That is. Yeah, that was a nice. Although I learned immediately. I guess it's been a while. There's the mama duck and the daddy duck and the baby ducks, and I thought, we'll throw the bread to the baby ducks, and that'll be cute. You throw the bread. The mama duck and the daddy duck, they go for the bread.
Right.
The kids' ducks be damned. Yeah. Like there's no way. So yeah, there's the tangent for today.
Nice.
I'm sorry. My friend is here. He almost fell over. You looked like Columbo. You just stumbled into the kitchen, scratching your head. One more thing.
How about these ducks and the bread?
About these ducks.
But yeah, I will say, if you gave a duck a Wand of Wonder, it would just use every charge immediately, trying to get it to cast bread once.
Just bread.
Bread.
Yeah.
Please have another bread there.
Yeah. And bread over here and not over there because the kids are over
I love these little familiars, Dylan.
They're pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, but you've got to, I'm going to say it right here on the stream so that you guys have to add it to your to-do list.
Oh, okay.
You've got to make a granular choice in the settings to turn off just the click noise.
Instead of all sound. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah. You'll note I'm playing the game without sound.
We'll need to provide it manually here.
I guess the funniest thing about sound is it's one of those things where recently we put out Evelyn with male sound effects, not realizing it because nobody plays the game with sound on, and we just forgot to change it from the default. So people started reporting in. It's like, Evelyn sounds like Minsk, and we're like, what? What are you talking about? And we look it up. Oh, crap. Yeah, we'll fix that. Hold on.
Minsk also at the Stream of Many Eyes this year.
Yeah,
sure was.
Awesomely played by Trent Oster from Beamdog.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a pretty remarkable cosplay.
He could not stop talking about his bald cap. It was
a convincing bald cap.
It was a very good bald cap. But so apparently they used like this kind of super glue sealant to keep it on.
So it's still on.
And I'm sure that parts of it are still kind of clinging to his scalp. But the thing he would talk about is when he'd remove it, you'd have to put the chemicals on it to start getting the sealant to stop holding onto his scalp. and because it had a firm seal on his head,
Yeah.
it didn't let any of his sweat escape. So over the course of the day, it's kind of like the aliens from that first pilot episode of Star Trek. You know, it just kind of gets broader and bigger, right? So eventually, you know, he'd take off the bald cap, and it just
Well,
so
Like
just
a
huge
blister.
a huge waterfall of warm sweat going down the back, and he could not stop talking about how gross and yucky that felt.
next time I'd go with Bill Murray and Scrooged and try Staples.
That, no. I
Just shave your head at that point.
Yeah.
For folks that are watching now, I did want to just quickly mention, obviously we're taking a look at Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. If you want to see more of Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, Dylan along with Justin are live streaming every week Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific on the D&D Twitch channel. And I know we had experimented with this once. Chris Dupuis, speaking of Chris Dupuis, we, at his request, we experimented once with Twitch Plays Idle Champions. So we'll need to get that up and running one of these days as well, where we basically just have it on the channel on one of our, at the end of the broadcast day, and then we'll just switch over to Twitch Plays, and then in the chat commands, folks are able to interact with the game in session, and then we'll check back in the morning and see how it all,
That's
goes
cool.
down. That would be fun.
Yeah, no, that was a good experiment, and definitely, Dylan, do we still have that running, or is that off the air now?
That's a very good question that I am trying to message somebody about right now. Because
Just yell for Dupuis.
We'll bring it back.
We'll bring it back.
We'll definitely bring it back for one of these days.
I know we can turn it on if it's not on right now.
Yeah, we did that experiment for an hour. So yeah, we'll run it all night one of these times and see how that goes as well. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, maybe it's been running for the last 6 months and nobody's been paying attention to it. It's like achieved sentience or something.
That would be pretty cool.
Dylan goes back to check in on it. It just on the screen it says, "Why do I exist? I feel love. It hurts all the time." And Dylan's like, "Oh no,
Disconnected.
what is love?"
I've seen Superman 3. I know how this goes down.
Yeah.
It's not,
Oh my
not well.
god!
So I unfortunately have seen Superman 3.
I have forgotten all about it.
So the reason why Superman is better than Batman, let me explain.
Please do. What's the elevator pitch for Superman over Batman?
Yeah.
I don't know that you need to compare the two. I just find Superman compelling because he has all these amazing abilities. He is practically a god on Earth, but that's not what makes him Superman. What makes him Superman is he was raised by a farmer in Kansas. That's what gets me about Superman. And what destroys me about the new movies that abandon those principles. Right, Rob?
Yeah, but I was kind of steering into I would assume that the flawed character, somebody like a Batman who has clear, issues to resolve, would be more appealing to you.
I think that Batman is a compelling character because of his flawed nature.
I think they're deeper when they like the
Yeah, people tend to think they're deeper because they like Batman over Superman. But I've gotten to a point where the tenets of what makes Superman great continue to apply and inspire. And the thing that makes Batman interesting, you're like, okay, it's been 75 years. Like, get over it. Your parents died. Like, if you had Superman and Batman together, I think I did a comic strip about this once in PvP, but it's like, Batman's like, well, Clark, my parents died. My parents were killed. And Clark's like, my whole planet died. All parents on my planet died. All parents are dead on Krypton.
Yeah.
And I got over it. Like,
But he wasn't. He was a baby then. He wasn't there for the actual alleyway crime of Krypton.
like, let me ask you a question, right? Like, there's been just in the recent years as we've been adults, there have been so many Batman movies with that origin. Don't tell me that the last time you saw the two parents in the alley and the pearls and the popcorn falling to the ground, if you didn't think to yourself, "Oh my God, I get it, Martha and Thomas were killed in the alley. For the love of God, go to a therapist."
No, I could tell you why I love Batman over Superman is it boils down to because my dad had a box of Batman comic books as a kid, and that's just what I was exposed to.
That'll do it.
That's probably, and if it were Superman comics that I were exposed to, I'd probably be a Superman fan.
But I tell you, justice is his therapy, Scott. So,
Yeah, justice.
Dark
justice,
Grim
is his
justice is his therapy.
Yeah, I think that you know, both characters have their have things that they won't do, right? And that's where Superman's kind of quote unquote flaws come in. There's things that he will not do, even though he has the power to do them, right?
Yeah.
So and being able to act within that box and still be an upright, you know, awesome guy is what makes writing for Superman, I think, a really challenging thing.
Yes, super challenging.
Right. And whereas
That's a lot like Dungeons and Dragons, right? Guys?
yeah.
Well, you good to steer it back towards yes.
So if we were role playing Superman as a 18th level fighter with Joe Manganiello.
Yeah, no kidding. I use stuff like that in my D&D campaigns all the time. One time my players played through a whole campaign that they didn't realize was the movie Taken.
Oh, that's great.
Well, before we get too far off topic, it behooves me to steer it back somewhat. So for folks that are watching again, we had Mike Merrill's Happy Fun Hour on the hour before.
He wore my shirt.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah. That's probably the one thing people took away from that.
Yeah, it's wow. Mike and John are wearing the same shirt.
So Mike will be back next week at the same bat time. Mm-hmm. Next week on the Dragon Plus live stream, Jeremy Crawford, I believe, will be returning for a continued conversation on the Giant Soul Sorcerer. And then today we do have D&D news coming on at 3:30, leading into Dice Camera action at 4. Really quickly, next week on Tuesday, we're a bit off because Greg Tito is on vacation. So Dragon Talk on Mondays, we will be vodcasting an earlier interview session. And D&D News will be live with your host, probably TBD. It might be Pelham Green. Who knows? No, it's not Pelham Green. He's giving me the signal it's not.
he says no.
You can just play Idle Champions the whole time.
He said no, but his eyes said yes.
But we've run Twitch Plays Idle Champions. We could do that live stream where Pelham plays.
Yeah, Pelham plays Idle Champions. Let's do it.
I like it. That's good.
Who approved Greg Tito's time off?
I know. Yeah. Well, from putting together the stream of many eyes, and then he immediately headed down to Origins as well.
Right.
I figured we would owe him a day or two off.
Totally.
It's a nice quiet room to be with himself.
Yeah. Clive just got in from Origins today, and he looks like a zombie.
Right.
I never get con cred. I actually came away from the stream of many eyes.
You just cursed yourself.
I did.
It's like PAX, you're going to come away with something.
I always get con crud.
No,
Always.
I never do. I did this time.
You got to do the chin nod that Scott wants to.
Oh my gosh. You don't understand. You cannot refuse a handshake. They get so offended. It's unreal. And then everyone hands you their money, and that money's, you don't want to know where that's been.
So before we head out today for the end of the Dragon Plus live stream, Dylan, again, for folks that are interested in playing Idle Champions themselves or watching more Idle Champions, how would they go about that? How would you get a hold of the game, and where can you watch more of it getting played?
Well, you can find out everything you need to on idlechampions.com, but Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms is available for free on Steam, iPad, and tablet for Android. So it's a plethora of device options for you. And I think also some players have talked about using one of Steam's apps to find ways to play it on their phone as well. But That's obviously not officially supported by us, and I couldn't imagine playing it on such a tiny device.
That would be hard.
It would be very, very difficult. The UI does not scale down very well.
And again, you'll be streaming every Thursday, continuing 1 p.m. Pacific, along with Justin.
When I can get Justin, he's a hard sell. He and Dave like to rock, paper, scissors to see which one of them comes on, and Dave is way better at it. But we'll see. I think this coming Thursday it'll be Scott and I with Adam, our art director, will be on it.
Cool.
So we'll be going over the time lapse, talking about the art, and just talking Binwin and art.
And speaking of Binwin, Scott, folks obviously can follow PvP and Table Titans. Any other news and announcements we would be remiss not to ask about for folks tuning in?
Yeah, I just want everyone to know that I don't want to shake your hand. My immune system's been compromised. You're going to get me sick.
But did I see earlier in the chat that there might be additional codes that have been hidden in some of the recent strips?
Yeah, so in our every Friday we have a new Binwin's Minions comic at tabletitans.com. Yep. And the art team and the writers have been racking their brains to hide codes in the comic. Usually Reddit figures it out pretty quickly, but we got pretty good at hiding them. They got pretty good at hiding them last week. So it's not just a comic, it's a puzzle to solve. So it's a quest to get some delicious, sweet codes.
I was going to say, somebody mentioned in the chat, we do Dungeons and Doodles periodically where we have artists and cartoonists come in and doodle from a wide variety of random topics. We would love to extend the invitation to have you on for a Dungeons and Doodles one.
Anytime, let me know. It's just a hop, skip, and jump away for me to come down to Renton.
That would be fantastic.
Stan would love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Email Corey about it because I will not respond to your email and I will upset everyone at the company.
Nor will you shake my hand.
Right.
No, I'm not going to shake anybody's hand. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm too compromised.
Maybe you should just hand everybody a bottle of Purell before they shake your hand. It's just, here's some Purell.
Or you could have a fake
the
hand.
bubble boy that walks around in that bubble. I'm just going to walk around in a bubble just up to my chin in Purell.
I think I saw that guy on Solo. Having just seen the movie the other day. He was playing cards with Lando in the background. It was,
Yep.
Well, we're here at the top of the hour again. Thanks everyone for tuning in and watching a bit of We Play Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, along with Dylan Wilkes and Scott Kurtz. Thank you so much for everyone who tunes in every week. Thank you, as always, to our followers and subscribers. And, of course, a big shout-out and thank you to our moderators as well. We appreciate everything that you do. We appreciate everyone taking part in the chat. John, thank you, as always, for joining us for some of our conversations.
It's super fun, especially talking about Superman.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah.
Bit off topic, but hey, that's how it goes.
It's a good topic to talk about.
And of course, to Pelham. Always thanks to Pelham, who may or may not be appearing as a new Twitch, D&D Twitch emote in the days to come.
Nice.
So
we're gonna have to get Pelham as a character in Idle Champions, I think. So he's nodding on that. So
that would be a hell of a contest.
we'll get Adam to start on that.
Well, Dylan and Scott, again, thank you for sharing an hour of your time. It was a pleasure, and thanks again, everyone, for watching. We'll be back at 3:30 with D&D News. Until Thursday for another Codename Entertainment's Idle Champions stream as well.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.